Thank you for allowing me to spend an afternoon with you. And for those of you that know me, hello, and good to see you again. For those of you that are here just for the roasted chicken, I'm your District Attorney, Joe Gonzales. I was first elected to this office back 4 years ago, but I wasn't always a lawyer, and I certainly wasn't always your district attorney. Before I ever tried a case in front of a jury, before I ever asked a supporter for his or her vote, before I ever asked a supporter for a contribution, and let me tell you, that's hard to do. For any of you candidates or elected officials, that's very difficult. Before I did any of those, had any of those jobs, I used to ask, you want some fries with that? Because you see, when I was going through school, I worked in the fast food industry. It wasn't a glamorous job, but it's what I had to do to get through school. And fast forward, 7 years later, here I am, the elected district attorney in the largest public law firm in San Antonio. When I went to college, I was a first-generation college student because my mother had to drop out of school when she was in 9th grade because you see, her parents were migrant workers and they had to pull her out of school every year. So she fell so far behind, at some point she just gave up and dropped out. So she had no idea what it took to apply to college. She had no idea what it took to navigate through financial aid forms. But I struggled through it and I got by. And by the way, I think it's incredible what Democrats are doing in DC to forgive loans to those people that have made it through college. Isn't that the Democrat thing to do? And by the way, don't you know that those people that are complaining about it are the same people that got PPP loans forgiven not too long ago? That's okay for them to have their loans forgiven, but someone who's going to college, not so much. Anyway, as you may have surmised, I had a humble start. I grew up on the west side of San Antonio, one of 4 siblings in a single family home. My mother struggled to put us through school. She struggled to put food on the table, and I remember that. But she finally got a good job at Kelly Air Force Base. And I remember the stories that she told. One of the biggest stories that I remember is that she still remembers AFGE, the American Form of Government Employees. I know some of you are members of that local union. How because of the union helping her, she was able to work the midnight shift and come home during the day so that she could send her kids off to school after she got out of work. And what I learned growing up is the values that she instilled in us that I use today, that I have used throughout my practice. But that allowed me to have a huge respect for unions in general. So I want to talk to you about that for just a moment. 140 years ago, our country was in the midst of a revolution, as you may remember. Factories were overtaking cities, and Americans were breaking their backs to keep up. The average American worked about 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and were paid little more than $1 a day. Children were worked like adults, and they, just like their parents, were oppressed and endangered by their employers. At that time, labor law was a contradiction in terms. But in 1882, on the first Monday of September, something changed. 10,000 men, women, and children walked out on their employers and spent the day marching in the streets of New York. They were tired of being undervalued and overworked. They were tired of being pushed too far and of being respected too little. This march spurred a labor movement that unionized workers protected their rights, and enshrined the first Labor Day. That labor movement that I was talking about spread across the nation, from New York to Texas to California. And then that movement was taken from the streets and into the voting booth. Voters and the representatives they elected enshrined the rights of workers to law, protecting the American dream for generations to come. As your district attorney, it's my job to protect that dream too. For your small businesses to thrive, I need to keep the streets safe. For you to work that second shift or even the third shift that I talked about with my mother, while your kids are at home, I need to keep your families safe. And for the next Toyota or Valero or USA to move here and create new jobs and re-energize our economy, I need to keep violent crime low. And make Bexar County a safe and desirable place to work. And in my office, in the district attorney's office, that's what we are doing every day. The year that I took office, I resolved, together with my administration, over 20,000 felony cases, more than each of the previous 4 years. As a matter of fact, we handled over 60,000 cases a year. That's the job we do for you to keep you safe every day. When I first came into office, we pulled the domestic violence unit out from another division, made it its own standalone unit. We doubled the number of prosecutors in the domestic violence area. We improved the intake method that we use. So we are now reaching out to victims of domestic violence sooner, and we're fighting for them every day. We've kept businesses safe in Bexar County. We have a special unit that focuses on fraud and business-related crimes, and we're doing everything we can to protect the interests of small business in Bexar County. But that work doesn't end there. Protecting the American dream also means protecting people when our justice system isn't fair. That's why criminal justice reform is so important, because it means not throwing the book at someone who is a first-time nonviolent offender. These folks should participate in restorative justice. Yes, they should be held accountable in ways that benefit the community, but these people that commit low-level nonviolent offenses deserve a second chance. Because I don't believe that a person who gets caught with less than an ounce of marijuana should lose out on the American dream, we are giving them a second chance. And you know who else I believe should not lose out on the American dream? That's every woman who chooses to get an abortion or exercise her own rights about her own body. "140 years ago, 10,000 men, women, and children walked out on their employers to protect our American dream. Today, it's union leaders, it's me and my team, and it's all of these Democrats that are running for office and the elected officials you see here today across Bexar County who are protecting that American dream. But this November, we cannot do it alone. We need you. We need you to stand up. We need you to go vote. We need you to tell your neighbors and friends to go out to vote. We need you to help us protect our American dream right here in Bexar County. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the Democratic Party, and God bless Bexar County. Thank you.